Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Spiritual Mind Healing Service coming to you from the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living here in Kingston, Jamaica. Let us begin, as all things begin, with an affirmative prayer. Right now, we recognize the allness of being, that God presence that fills every nook and cranny, that expresses through every thought and activity, and fills our minds and our consciousness with every idea that we need to lift us into a higher expression of who we are, in recognition that God works through us, as us, to will and to do everything that is required to lift mankind into a world that works for everyone. For this, we truly give thanks as I welcome each and every person who has chosen to be part of this experience this evening. Every idea is welcome. Every exchange is an exchange of intelligent conversation. I give thanks that all this is now so, and I let this be so as I release these words into that infinite law that has already made it so. So it is. Welcome again. My name is Carol Campbell. I'm a religious science practitioner from the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living. My topic for this evening is Hango Pakiko. Now that is a saying that I grew up on. And I was really surprised when I told people this was a topic, that nobody had ever heard of this topic. Now, this is a saying that I grew up on. It was told by my grandmother and my mother. Now, could have been I heard it wrong. I don't know, but I understood what it meant, right? Lots of times, my grandmother would be out in her garden at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, talking to her roses. She had an incredible, beautiful garden. And you'd hear the donkey coming down the road, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. And you'd hear, "Morning, Miss May." And she said, "Oh, morning, Master Joe, how you do?" I said, "I'm good, She said, what are you doing today?" "I'm off to the ground. I'm going to go dig some food." I said, "Okay. You have breakfast yet?" "No." She said, come have a cup of coffee." And Master would go in and have his cup of coffee and then set off on his way. She said, "What good, Master? Little more." Later that day, Mas Enos would come by. Mas Enos was a fisherman. And he would come by on his bicycle. "Miss May, how you do?" "Good, Mas Enos. What you have today?" "You want fish, Miss May?" "Yes, what you have today?" "Me have some parrot and me have some grunt. Which one you want?" He said, "Anything where your hand reach." And he said, "And by the way, some lobster come up in the catch. You want it?" He said, "Sure." He said, "All right, take it. You don't want it." And still later on that day, the donkey come again, tick tock, on his way home. "Miss May." "Yes, Master Joe. What you bring for me today?" I said, "Well, the ground was very fruitful today, so I have a basket of things for you. I have yam and sweet potato and corn and some callaloo. Take what you want." He said, "Oh, thank you, Master Joe." Now, this was not unusual, okay? I'm singling out one day in the life of my grandmother. But my grandmother was known as the Dorcas of the village, in that she was always giving. She always had something to share. And true to form, what she shared was returned to her multiplied 10 times over. That's what the saying actually meant. Hand go, you give with your hand, pack it come. Now, whether that packing was intended to say package or packy as in hamper. I'm not sure, but all I know that it meant you give what you have, you receive in abundance, in the overflow. I was grown on the saying, right? And what I understood was that we are never diminished by our giving, especially when the act of giving is generated from a consciousness of plenty, of generosity. If we would deliberately seek to live from an I have attitude rather than an I want or need attitude, we would dramatically increase our ability to share and to give. My grandmother was not wealthy, but she was never ever poor. And she never ever saw herself as poor, no matter what it was that she had. There was always enough to share. Now, I know you've heard this many times, that nothing comes to us that doesn't come through us. Whatever we have in the outer, be it physical, mental, emotional, comes from us, not to us. Now, the only way it can come through us is if and when we provide the clear and open channel for it to flow. Now, this month, the whole focus of CSL is on flow, coming and going, giving and taking, being in the flow. Joel Goldsmith, writing in his book, Consciousness is What I Am, says on page 74, I quote, living in a material state of consciousness, life is concerned with getting, achieving, attaining, all based on the fact that out here, there's a world of supply. It continues, we are infinite consciousness, and what we cannot find in our consciousness, we're not going to find out in the world, end quote. So if we're thinking lack, there's no way to experience plenty because we have put literally a kink in the hose. It can't flow. If we're thinking that there's not enough, same thing. Our consciousness must be open and clear, ready and receptive to the experience we desire, be that more money, more love, joy, more connection, whatever. Remember, we live in a responsive universe. Our consciousness must first generate the idea that the universe, life, God, responds to. Give, and it shall be given unto you. That comes from the Bible, Luke chapter 6, verse 38. Our Declaration of Principles states, and I quote, we believe that the universe, the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. It says further, we believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. We know that the universe is ready, willing, and able to support every thought and belief we choose. And we know this because we have proven it. It's not just airy-fairy talk. You work it, it works for you. Choose carefully, because whatever we choose sets an action in motion so that the stated desire becomes true for us and only us, not for your sister or your brother or your family, but for you. We have a responsibility, acknowledge and act on our response ability. Affirm. And if somebody could write this in the chat, that would be good. I embody and activate the qualities of right thinking. I am a conduit of infinite intelligence, and I now allow divine inspiration to pour itself into, over, and around me till I am saturated with clear knowing and pleasant success is assured. And when I speak of consciousness, I mean the sum total of our thoughts, our impressions, our awareness. Everything, as we've been told so often, begins first in mind. And there is a law of mind which works without judgment. It simply responds. So whatever you put into it, you receive in like measure. And any increase is according to our consciousness, what we are thinking. The law is the law. And the degree of expansion or increase is only limited by the form through which it flows. And that form is our consciousness. Therefore, our experience expands as a reflection of our consciousness. Think about this. Everything in your experience is there because you ordered it. And it's now being delivered exactly to order. You know, if you order pizza and you order it with pepperoni and mushrooms, that's what you expect to get, right? So if you get pineapple and tomato topping, you would not accept it, would you? So if what you're experiencing is not to your liking, understand that at some point, knowingly or unknowingly, you called it in. So moaning and groaning, whining and complaining as to why your colleague is doing better than you, why you don't have the stuff that you want, that's pointless. Look at what you have put out there from your open hand, your open heart, your open consciousness, and make whatever adjustments are necessary to call in the desired outcome. We only and always experience the exact result of our own consciousness. As I said before, nothing is done to us that is not done through us. There are no victims here, only volunteers. It may be hard to swallow, but it's a necessary pill. What we agree with is what we get. Now, how does this agreement look? If something shows up in your experience and you don't like it, it doesn't feel good, it's not taking you where you need to go. But instead of looking at it and saying, okay, what do I need to learn from this? What steps do I need to take to put me back on the correct pathway? We spend an inordinate amount of time complaining and whining, moaning and groaning about what it is that has shown up for us. Who do us wrong? You know, how they coulda, woulda, shoulda. All of that makes no sense. What we agree with is what we get. And go, I said, what you give, back it come. It is returned, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The full quote from Luke chapter 6, verse 38, in the New King James Version of the Bible says, give, and it will be given to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be put into your bosom. Some translations say put into your lap. Or with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you. And go, back it come, if your consciousness is expanded enough to expect and accept the more that is available. Our minds, bodies, and universe are in constant flow. There is a law of circulation that governs the going and coming of whatever is in our experience. A law is a law. You can't change a law, but you can only change how we work with that law, with any law. The law of gravity works just as effectively if you toss a pebble off a bridge as if you toss yourself off a bridge. It doesn't judge the action, it doesn't judge the choice that you make. The law of gravity is a law. Reverend Dr. Sonny Cantrell Smith, spiritual leader for Centers for Spiritual Living, speaking in the November 2024 edition of the Science of Mind magazine, has this to say, and I quote, "This cycle of giving and receiving, of nurturing and being nurtured, reflects a truth we can carry into our lives. And that truth is abundance grows when it is shared." So here's another affirmation for you. I am an open channel for love to flow, for abundance to flow, for health to flow, for the joy of life to flow. I accept and allow the unrestricted flow of God through my life. Joel Goldsmith, in Practicing the Presence, says, "We already have the mind that was in Christ Jesus, but to use it effectively, it is necessary to attain a realization of it." Let me be clear. Our consciousness of the presence of God appears outwardly as our daily supply and as every expression of harmony and beauty in life. Ango practical. Choose wisely what is in your hand to give. Namaste. Are there any questions, comments, observations? Okay, Thursday. How come it's such a little number of people here today? What's up?
Hi, Carol.
Hi,
I'm not sure, but maybe they're on YouTube for whatever reason. I haven't checked, but you could look at that. But it was funny because as I listened to you speak, because I'm reading spiritual economics, and Butterworth was referencing the same thing, all about the consciousness, and it just hit home with me, the fact that we can't just sit back and figure that it's being done to us, because as you said, the law works, and it works whether law of gravity, for example, as you reference, work whether you drop a pebble off a bridge or you throw yourself off there. And so sometimes I just think it's so easy, I'm speaking for myself, to go to default position to think it is being done outside of you. So whatever is happening, rather than realize that, well, we know that it is really happening through you, I tend to want to think, what is it outside of me that is causing this? But we always have to bring it back to self. So yeah, I resonated with this.
And it's always easier to put the blame outside.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
Because then we don't have to take any responsibility.
Yeah, I just say that's my point.
Activate our response ability.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Love that.
I can't see YouTube from where I am, so if anybody sees any comment on YouTube, you could share.
No, I'm not seeing it yet. I'll try.
I don't know if I can try to write the affirmations without totally going off. I'm so,
You know,
I'm
if I
so
may,
afraid. I'm so afraid to touch anything on the screen.
if I may,
No,
Carol,
Hi,
don't do
Sandy.
that.
I, you know, I always used to hear my mother talk about hand go packy come. Whenever I would go and visit, I always left with a package, whether it was some mangoes off the tree, or she cooked something and she packed it up and gave me some, or she, you know, there was a piece of fabric that she put on in a grip. You know, in those days it's not suitcases, a grip. From, you know, Wapik Phillip back in the day. And I remember one time I heard her after I was going through the door and say, you see, and go packy come. What you talking about? But, you know, with the teaching that we have, I've come to learn that for me, what it means is ask and it shall be given. You have to, so many of us in this teaching, especially those of us who think we have a little sense around it, afraid to ask.
Because you're supposed to know, you know.
Supposed
You're
to know.
you're supposed to have it already. You're not supposed to have to ask.
And you can ask it in the quiet of your morning meditation, and that may seem fine. But to ask a practitioner for help, hell no. Because we're supposed to have it together.
Yeah.
So the packy is really the blessing of spirit. And to be able to, you know, all of us are blessed equally and evenly. But sometimes we want a little extra sprinkling, and we have to ask. We need to ask for it.
And although, you know, we're told, oh, the Father knows what you need before you ask. But I am a firm believer that if you don't ask, you don't get. Right? It's not that the Father is going to withhold anything. The Father being life, universe, God, whatever you want to call it, George. But you have to make your desires known. That gives the universe something to work on, work with, because it's not going to contradict what you say you want, and it's not going to force an idea on you. You need to be clear in yourself what it is that is your desire. Then the universe can say, yes, okay, let's go. So those are my thoughts.
No, and I agree with that, Carol. It's sometimes that we're just not clear in our intention. You know, we're unstable, we're double-minded, and we waver.
Yeah.
So.
And we don't need to beat upon ourselves when that happens either.
No, we don't. We don't.
It's a human part of us that even Jesus had doubts, hey.
Hey.
You know? So, but it's to recognize when that is happening and take steps to correct it. All right. Are there any prayer requests? Then please put them in the chat. Afraid to touch the screen. Every time I'm on this device and I touch the screen, it goes back to 0 and then I can't get it back. So somebody can tell me what's in the chat. That would be lovely.
Nothing right yet, Carol. At least nothing on the chat. Well, hold on.
Treatment.
Pauline requested
I just saw
prosperity. That's coming from Reverend Anne. Pauline requests a treatment for prosperity. And Jennifer, right action in a business situation. I heard another voice.
Well, we can start with these.
Treatment for love and peace, please. Thank you.
Dawn.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Let's start with right action.
Sorry, Carol, before we begin, you have a fan on?
Yes, I asked Vance if he could hear it. He said no. I'll turn it off.
Mhm.
Okay. Please join me in an affirmative prayer of right action. In specific for business affairs for Jennifer, and right action for anyone else who is desirous of right action in their lives and affairs. There is only one power, one presence, one activity, which we know is God. God is not person. God is the action of life, recognizing itself as being that perfect and perfecting presence that activates every aspect of our lives and affairs. So I know for Jennifer this evening, in recognition that this perfect and perfecting presence is ever active in all our affairs, I know that whatever business dealings she is activating right now, the action of God is right and perfect for whatever needs to take place, for the upliftment, the enlightenment, and the perfect outcome for all who are concerned with this business deal. So I know that every idea that is needed to take this to that level of acceptance, of generation, of connection, every idea that is required is now made fully active and available, so that whatever Jennifer needs to know is known in the right way at the right time. Whatever activity Jennifer needs to participate in, whatever action she needs to take with regards to this business, is now revealed to her in ways that are right, perfect, easily recognizable, and confidently acted on. So the outcome of this activity is perfect. It is already done. Every action that needs to happen is now happening, is now taking place. And every result that is desired is now on its way, is now present as we acknowledge that powerful presence we call God in the midst of every endeavor. So for Jennifer and for anyone else who is seeking to activate this law of right action, I know that God at the center, God at the circumference, God at every point in between is now making the way clear for right outcomes to take place. Ease, contentment, confident knowing are the results. All fear is banished, all doubt is erased. There is only God, being God, acting in right and perfect ways in this endeavor. I give thanks that this is already so, and release it now into that law that has made it so already. So it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome. This is an affirmative prayer of prosperity for Pauline. God is the source of all our good. God is one. God is active. God is supreme in its generosity. The universe is responsive to our every need and want and idea. So we recognize that we live in a universe of plenty, in a universe that wants to give, in a universe that has set things in motion, that there is always enough and more than enough, enough to share, enough to spare, enough to enjoy, to invest. Abundance is what the universe is, and prosperity is the outpicturing of that abundance. So I know for Pauline that prosperity shows up in myriad ways, in ways that she can recognize, in ways that she can enjoy, in ways that she can share unabashedly. The generosity of the universe flows through her affairs, demonstrating itself as plenty, plenty. Enough to share, enough to give, enough to spare. There is always more than enough because we live in an unlimited universe that is fed from an infinite source. So I know for Pauline, in recognition of this oneness, this source idea, that she herself is positioned in the flow of generosity, in the ever-givingness of spirit. Being one with the source, there is nothing for her to do except to be. Be in the flow. Open wide her arms to accept. Open wide the windows of her mind to see the generosity that is all around. Open wide every vessel that can receive, so that prosperity flows in and through every aspect of her experience now. There is only God to realize. There is nothing to do but be. Be in the presence of this unfailing, abundant, lavishly generous source. So I know for Pauline, right here and right now, she recognizes herself as the vehicle for this prosperity to flow out into the world. She is prosperity in action. She is the way that abundance flows. She is the way that God chooses to make prosperity evident in the world. For this, I truly give thanks, and I release these words now into that infinite law. I release it to that infinite source that knows how to give unabashedly, unreservedly, lavishly, abundantly. For this, I truly give thanks and release it now to let it be so. In thanks, I say, thank you, God. So it is. And now, an affirmative prayer of peace. God is peace. We are peaceful because we are God in expression. Therefore, I am knowing that anywhere that there seems to be the opposite of peace, our very presence activates peace. We know ourselves as peace. We know our peaceful presence to be that which is needed to align every activity with that God presence, which is peace itself. Any idea contrary to the harmony, the light, the joy, existence of peace is erased and eliminated, so that all that remains is that knowing in our gut that peace is, regardless of what may be taking place on the outer. At our center, there is peace. We rest in this peace. We allow this peace to permeate our consciousness, to find its way out through us into our world of affairs, into the world of affairs. Knowing that where we are, we stand on principle, we stand in peace. And where one or two or more are gathered, there the power of God is. Peace is now available. We see it, we feel it, we activate it through our consciousness, knowing that peace is the way of God, finding its expressions through us. We open our hearts and our minds to allow this peace to radiate from us, touching everything and every encounter into wholeness and joy and harmony. For this I truly give thanks as I release these words into that infinite law, accepting peace as our now experience. I give thanks that all this is already so. So it is. Now, an affirmative prayer of love for Dawn and for anyone else who is open and receptive to the idea of love. God is love. That love surrounds us. That love infills us. We are immersed in that love. We are saturated with this love, this healing energy, this great power that finds its perfect expression through our open heart and mind. Everywhere we step, we bring this attitude of love with us, and it is translated through our consciousness into loving exchange, into loving acceptance, and into loving encounters, so that each person with whom we come into contact feels this love energy and is uplifted and inspired by it to be love in expression. So I know that where love is, all of God is present. And since God works through us where we are, there can only be love in expression. This love filters any idea unlike itself and eliminates any ideas other than love. This healing energy transmutes and transforms so that only love is possible. From our very center to the outer reaches of our experience, love is, because we are. And we are because God is working through us to love, to be that light, to be that energy that heals. We accept this, we believe this, we know this to be the truth. And so I release these words now into that law that knows only love, and love knows only love. I release these words now and let them be so, giving abundant thanks that all this is so. So it is. Okay.
Did you see Peace and Harmony from Leighton for his daughter?
No, but I can do that.
Okay.
This is an affirmative prayer of peace and harmony for Leighton. Right here in this moment, I'm recognizing God as peace, as harmony, as love in expression. Therefore, I am knowing for Leighton in recognition of God as that powerful presence acting and activated through him, that peace and harmony are what he brings to every experience now. Every interaction establishes this peace. Every conversation is redolent with this harmony. Every person with whom he comes into contact feels this peace and acknowledges and shares this harmony. There is nothing else to express. God is fully present and fully active in, through, and as Leighton now. Therefore, peace and harmony are the direct demonstration of this activity of God in, through, and as him. So I know that right where Leighton is, he is that peace that is established. He is that voice and energy of harmony that allows each person, each engagement to be one of light and love and joy. I accept this for Leighton and for everyone else who is tuned into the idea of peace and harmony. This is our task. This is our agreement to be that peaceful presence, to bring that harmony to the experiences that we share, to know within our hearts of hearts that God at the center, God at the circumference, is only peace, is all harmony. Therefore, joy and light and love fill our experience now and radiates from us to touch, to heal, to bless everyone with the idea of peace and harmony. I give thanks for this and I release these words now into that infinite law that has already made it so. So it is. Okie dokie. Anybody has anything they would like to add? And so it is indeed, Leighton. You're welcome. Okay, let's move right along then. We have announcements for the month of March. Coming up, Don't miss this. The Jamaica Youth Chorale in concert on April the 6th at 4 p.m. And this will be held at the temple. And we know that the Jamaica Youth Chorale are just a vibrant, amazing young group of talented singers. So tickets are now available at the temple or through the Music House. The Music House is at 214 Mountain View Avenue. That's Angela Elliott's music school. The tickets are available. They're $3,500 each. And this is a fundraiser. So let's try and fill the sanctuary. Buy tickets, give friends tickets, just be there, experience the talent of this vibrant young group. August the 6th. Now we don't want to miss this one. March the 30th is Youth Sunday. And our guest speaker will be Reverend Jermaine McKenzie from the Universal Center for Truth and Better Living. That's Reverend Sheila's church. Reverend Jermaine has spoken at the temple before, so we all know that he's dynamic, he's hot, he's young, and he's very clear about the principles. So bring as many youths as you can, send them, bring them. They all need to be present and to hear Reverend Jermaine's message. Also, on March the 30th, following that service, will be our annual general meeting. Please make sure that you are in attendance. I'm sure that you know that only registered members can vote, but you can certainly express an opinion at the general meeting, even if you're not a member. But if you want to know what's happening at the temple in terms of our business affairs, you need to come to the general meeting and let your voice be heard. Okay, Sunday, March the 30th, immediately following the Sunday service. And at that meeting, if you have a yen to be of service, the Board of Trustees has one position available on the Leadership Council. So if you would like to serve in that capacity, come to the meeting, bring your bio, or you can drop your bio off at the temple prior to the meeting. But come with the express idea to put yourself forward for service on the Board of Trustees through the Leadership Council. We welcome all participants. Now, many of you had participated in Jean Barnes' outreach program, which she started at the Temple of Light a few months ago. On Saturday, April the 12th, between 4 and 6, the Legal Outreach Program will be hosting Justice David Batts, and he will be discussing the Jamaica Constitution. Now, this is a hot topic right now because, elections are coming up and you need to know what is in the Constitution. What is it that you need to know to express your ideas effectively, to know what it is you can and can't do according to the Constitution of Jamaica. Share this with friends, relatives, associates, and make an effort to be present. Justice Batts will be available between 4 and 6 on April the 12th for this discussion.
And it's a little more than that too, Carol, because we're looking at constitutional reform, transition from the monarchy to a republic. I think a number of questions might on our minds with regards to what's involved, what it entails, what's in it for us, what are the implications for us as a country. Yeah. So any of these questions we can ask and get answers at that session. Yes.
So it's an important session that we need to make ourselves available if you want to learn what this means for the country and for us individually. Our spiritual mind healing service next Tuesday, March the 18th, will be with practitioner Sandra Cooper. It's Sandra will give us our title later on.
Mhm.
You'll know by Sunday what the title is.
For sure.
Okay, so please join Sandra at 6 o'clock next week, Tuesday. Now I saw a brief message from Vance, but I didn't get a chance to read it. Vance, you want to put the message back?
David Batts is a Fortis brother, please.
Oh, okay.
Oh, please.
Okay,
Right. Let me moving right along.
moving right along. If you feel moved to support our ministry, please feel free and feel generous to donate at donate.templeoflightcsl.org. Thank you for your generosity and for being a beacon of light in this world. Now, there are also two avenues that you may make your donations. We can donate in US dollars as well as in Jamaican dollars. There are two different platforms you can use. So if you get in touch with the temple, or Reverend Ann, is that information on when you go to donate.templeoflight? Reverend Ann?
Not there just yet, Carol, but
Not
it
there
will
just
be.
yet.
It will be.
Okay.
This I need to be prepared. Mhm.
Okay. All right. So if you have your donation in your hand, if not, just put your hand on your heart. If you're ready to press that button, repeat the prayer. Lovingly I give, joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper, and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. Thank you, Father. And so it is.
Sorry.
Joke. I would like to go back to saying it is the prayer of our center, but I will just say it. Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which the Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate. To touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and the glory forever. And so it is. The prayer of Jamaica. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island, Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established. And so it is. And so in this consciousness of recognizing God at the center, God at the circumference, God at every space and place in between, we give thanks for this evening's spiritual mind healing service, knowing that minds have been opened, prayers have been answered, and from here on in, we give abundant thanks for the recognition that where we are, God is fully present and fully active. Therefore, all is always well and good in our lives and affairs. There is peace, there is prosperity, there is harmony, there is love, there is joy, there is light. There is everything that makes life living, livable, lovable, joyful. We give thanks for this knowing as we go our separate ways to our several and separate destinations and activities. We go as God. We go with God. We go as one with each other, God in full, vibrant expression. We give thanks that this is now so, and so it is. Okie dokie.